grade 5 camp was the first time that I thought, oh, perhaps there is something wrong with my eyesight. The whole group were heading one direction, and I walked straight off the edge of a cliff.
Are you serious, man?
So in singles, I haven't lost a match ever. I haven't lost a set ever. So I've had a pretty strong run.
All right, so welcome to the Breaking Barriers podcast. Today we've got Ross Patterson, world number one in blind tennis in the B4 division. Also world number one in B2 and B4 blind tennis doubles, as well as being a school principal. And you do all this as your vision impaired, Ross, yeah?
That's right, Mikey.
Mate, welcome to the show, man. And thank you so much for making time today, because I know you're a very busy man.
Thanks so much. It's great to be here.
But I know everyone's going to be so inspired after today's video, because we all love you, the vision impaired community in blind tennis. We all call Ross the GOAT, because he really is the GOAT. He's the greatest of all time. He's basically been undefeated for years and years in blind tennis in B4. But we'll get to that a little bit later. Let's talk a little bit, Ross, man. Tell us a little bit about how this all started, mate, with your life, with some of the barriers you might have faced, like your vision or any other barriers that you have in your life. How did it all start for the young Ross Patterson? When were you born and where you're from, etc.?
Yeah, look, I was born in Northern Ireland, and my parents migrated to Australia when I was 6 months old. They did that for a better life for their family. There was a fair bit of conflict in Northern Ireland at the time, and I'm really grateful that they had the courage and bravery to make such a decision, because it's been a game changer for me and has afforded me a wonderful life in Australia. In terms of my journey, it's been a really interesting one, because I didn't find out that I had a vision impairment officially until I was 37 years of age.
Oh, wow.
And yeah, so I look back on my journey, my life journey to that point, and I certainly, I think, appeared to a lot of people as being clumsy, having great difficulty navigating the dark or dim light settings. And my tennis journey was certainly really interesting, but it was probably at the age of around 8, 9, grade 5 camp was the first time that I thought, oh, perhaps there is something wrong with my eyesight. It was a year 5 camp. We were going off on a night hike. I have retinitis pigmentosa, and one of the challenges is night blindness, along with not a lot of peripheral vision. And we headed off on this hike, super enthusiastic, and the whole group were heading one direction, and I walked straight off the edge of a cliff.
Are you serious, man?
Yes, I'm 100% serious.
Dude, so
and,
how old were you at this time?
I was grade 5, so I would have been around 9, 10, actually.
Wow, man. And you don't even have a clue that you have a vision problem at this stage?
No idea. This is the first memory I have of where things weren't going to plan. And
Wow.
I remember sliding off and just in a panic, I grabbed a bunch of tussock grass. I'm so glad that my hand and the grass connected at that time. I remember looking down and seeing the rocks and waves, and then looking up and seeing the look on my teacher's face, which was a look of fear and panic. They reached down, they grabbed me, they wrapped their arms around me for the remainder of the walk. But that was probably the first moment that I went, well, why did I go that way and not everyone else? Now I know, but that was probably the first memory that I have of a night hike barrier, I guess, which presented a challenge that I didn't quite understand at the time.
And what happened from there? So you go on this hike, you almost fall off the cliff. Your parents probably would have heard about this, yeah?
Well, the school didn't inform them, so they didn't hear about it, and I didn't think to tell them about it. It's a really interesting time. I guess I was a kid, I was resilient, I just got on with it. Thought perhaps it was just an accident, but certainly, probably about 4 or 5 years later, I was playing laser tag, and we took off, and I'm super competitive. Everyone was looking to get their hiding spot and get in the best position. It's a very dark environment, laser tag. Everyone ducked at one point where there was an archway, and I didn't. And I ran straight into it, and I was flat on the floor, blood everywhere, a bit of damage to my nose. and again, I started questioning, why did that happen to me and not others?
Mm.
I told my optometrist, because I had reading glasses at the time. I told my GP that I was struggling to see in the dark, and they just all brushed it aside. And as a result, I continued on, um, with the challenge not knowing. So I think I've missed so many handshakes in my life, and I've certainly knocked over lots of chairs, walked into lots of people, uh, but I just felt that that was being clumsy, and perhaps everyone had that challenge as well.
So, what year was it when this laser tag incident happened exactly? Do you remember roughly? Because you would have been about what, 10?
Yeah, it would have been early 90s. So
Oh, early
90,
90s.
yes. Yep.
Early.
So I would
So
have
at
been,
this stage, there was no such thing as NDIS, and like you say,
no,
the medical system wasn't as advanced as it is now, eh?
yep, yep,
Um,
absolutely.
yeah.
And so then I chose tennis in between those two incidents, and fell in love with tennis, and
Wow.
be, pursued the goal and the dream of becoming a professional tennis player. Little did I know that that was an impossible dream with my invisible disability. And so
Wow.
there'd be days for the next 10, 15 years where I'd be playing tennis. It would be calm, it'd be a hard court surface, overcast conditions, and I'd play absolutely amazing because I could predict the ball. I could play a week later on an uneven surface with 40-kilometer winds and a little bit of sun, and I would be literally yelling out on the court, I cannot see this ball. And it was really interesting reflecting on that time, because the swings in my performance were extreme. And it was, now in hindsight, purely due to conditions. And of course, the opponent, no doubt, played a key part in that as well.
Mm.
But my coaches, my family, all thought I was, for want of a better term, a bit unstable on the court, because I
Wow.
would play in such different ways. When I was good, it was very, very good. And when it was not good, it was really interesting to watch, and difficult to watch, because the performance was at times so poor. And so I ended up
Wow.
in my early 20s giving up on that dream, because I just couldn't perform consistently at the level that I needed to. And I
So,
had some great wins. I got to top level pennant. I have a doubles win over a Davis Cup player. When it was good, it was good. But when it was bad, it was frustrating. But now I know why.
okay. So at 20, you kind of gave up that dream of tennis because you were like you say, you're not consistent enough. When did that dream start? How old were you when you actually started playing tennis?
Yeah, the dream started at age 12.
12. Okay.
Uh, And what I didn't say was, I had another challenge before that. At age 8, I had a leg condition, osteomyelitis, which essentially meant that I was in a plaster cast through the recovery for a full year,
Wow.
and I couldn't play sport again for 2. So prior to playing tennis, my passion was AFL football. I loved it.
Hey.
Loved my Collingwood Magpies, and that was my dream. But I was essentially told, after recovering from this significant leg issue, an issue where uh, I nearly lost my leg, um, that I couldn't play contact sport anymore. So that's why I chose tennis at the age of 12.
Wow. So you started off being obsessed with footy and the Magpies when you were 8, and then you got this condition in your legs. What was it called again? Sorry.
Osteomyelitis.
Okay, and what does that mean? Why does that make you in a cast, and how could you almost
Yeah, it was
lose your leg for
a
that?
significant bacterial infection in the leg that basically led essentially to the destruction of the bone. And I didn't have much of my shin bone left at the time, and as a result, it took some time to protect through the plaster cast. I was on crutches for an entire year, and then couldn't play sport for 2 years. So it was a fair bit of recovery, and I was sports mad, but it led me to tennis, which was wonderful.
Wow, isn't that amazing how like that was a bit of a blessing in disguise because it ended up leading you to the sport that you are a champion in now. That's amazing. Now, that would
And
have
it
been
led to so
hard.
many other things. So I met my wife through tennis. I've got some amazing friends through tennis, and it led me to a career in education as well, because I was initially a tennis coach, which challenged me to adopt those skills and move into the classroom. So it's been a game changer for me for so many reasons.
That's amazing, mate. That's amazing. Now, with your retinal pigmentosa, just for those watching this that doesn't know what that means, what is retinal pigmentosa and what does someone with RP, that's what we call it for short, what do they normally see and not see?
It's interesting when you call it RP. That's my initials. It was like it was
Oh
fate that
yeah,
I'd
it
have
is
this.
too.
Uh, what it means is that I have really no peripheral vision. I see the world through essentially a straw. And so, although there isn't darkness around me, my brain is an amazing tool in that it essentially, the way I put it is I've essentially got a painting in front of me with a small bit in the middle is live. So my brain fills in everything and I think I can see everything, but really I'm only seeing this small live picture that's moving in the middle. So it means that when I'm looking straight ahead, I often can't see people standing to the side of that person that I may be focusing on. And a significant challenge for me is the night blindness. So in dimly lit settings, it's really difficult to see. And in dimly lit settings with crowded people, it's even more challenging.
So basically, you have tunnel vision. Is that what they call it?
That's right. Yeah,
So it's like having a horse with blinkers, or um,
correct.
if you think of a donut, the middle part of that donut is actually very, very clear. You can look through that middle part of the donut, but the part that you eat, that's the part you can't see, the thing around the
Yeah,
circle.
I've
So
never heard it put that way, but that's a
yeah,
nice way of putting it. Yeah,
yeah, because
and
my
probably
vision
the
problem is the
circle.
opposite. My
Yeah, the
vision
circle in
problem
the
is the peripheral part, the part that you eat is clear, but the central part, the hole in the middle of the donut, that's blurry. But for you, it's the
mm,
opposite.
that's right, and
Yeah.
obviously the central part of the donut would be quite small. The diameter wouldn't be the same as a regular Krispy Kreme glazed donut.
Yes, exactly. Good
Yeah.
old Krispy Kreme. So, how clear is the circle in the middle of the donut that you can see?
Yeah, so I have a lazy eye as well and astigmatism. So I don't have perfect central vision. My right eye is because it's a lazy eye and also was corrected when I was in grade one. So I needed that to be straightened. That's never really switched on properly. So I predominantly see the world through my left eye
Oh, wow.
with really blurry vision in my right. So my left eye is pretty strong and I do whatever I can to protect that. I need reading glasses now as I get older, but I can see the world centrally okay through my really okay actually through my left eye, but my right eye is not as strong, and often my brain's switching that eye off.
That's amazing. So from the age of 8, you have the issue with your leg, and then
Mhm.
you have RP, retinal pigmentosa, but you don't even know that you have it.
Yep.
People just think you're a little bit clumsy and you're not as consistent in your tennis because you
Hmm.
started playing your tennis at 12 because you weren't able to play footy. And I won't hold it against you that you're a Magpies man. It's all good, bro. I'm a Cats man. But what I
They're
was
going all
gonna
right.
say, what I was gonna say, bro, you played tennis from 12 to 20. First of all, how'd you go through school having this vision impairment? And how'd you get through school?
Well, I didn't know any different. So again, it was the same thing that I just approached life how I normally do. I take every opportunity that presents, and I probably banged my head more than other people and knocked things over a little more than other people, and at times perhaps were perceived to be ignoring people because I didn't see them because they were in my periphery. Um, but I didn't know any different. So looking back, I got through because that's all I knew, and I thought that's how everyone saw the world. So, and the tennis pushed through to 2010. So it was actually past 20, but I gave up on the dream of being a professional player.
Okay.
Um, at around age 20, 21, I gave up on top level pennant in 2010.
Because you played against the Davis World Cup champion while you were vision impaired and you bet them. Is that right? In doubles, did you say?
That's correct.
That's
Yes.
amazing. A vision impaired guy playing against a pro and beating him. That's incredible. So, what happened after that, Ross? So, you gave up on that dream about playing professional tennis. How did you get to 21 to where you are now and that journey?
Yeah, so while I was chasing the dream, I was also coaching tennis. And when I gave up on the dream, I moved into coaching full time, and I was head coach of a tennis club for 3 years. Whilst I was doing that, I also studied to be a teacher, and I really liked working with people. I really liked teaching and coaching people, and I used my science degree to become a teacher, and then moved into the school setting at around age of 24. Uh, and haven't looked back. So ever since, that's been my occupation. I've moved from the classroom now into leadership roles, being a principal in my last two schools, and it's been great. But I wouldn't have got there without tennis, because the last thing I ever wanted to do in high school was to be a teacher. But tennis gave me a real love of coaching and teaching people, and I certainly saw the transferable skills there to move easily into the classroom.
And this is in Melbourne, Victoria, yeah?
Correct. Yeah.
So what school did you first start teaching at?
I started at a local school in terms of where I lived. I grew up in Williamstown, played at Liston Tennis Club for a lot of my life, not all my life though. And my first teaching job was at Westbourne Grammar, which is the independent school based in Truganina.
Yeah, wow, that's amazing. All right, so then you started in your your teaching career, and now were you playing tennis at all for fun, or?
Yeah, yeah. So for the next 7 to 10 years, I continued to play pennant, continued to hit semi regularly. Uh, but it was becoming increasingly challenging. And again, I
Mm,
didn't know. I still hadn't been diagnosed yet.
mm,
And so, certainly, again, uh, I would be playing at different levels depending on the conditions.
mm,
What my condition is a degenerative condition. So, my tunnel continues to get smaller. My ability to see in dim
mm.
light becomes more challenging.
Yeah.
And it got to a point, I still remember my last pennant match. It was blowing 50-kilometer-hour winds. And I just felt like I was trying to find this ball and I couldn't see it. I lost 6-4, 6-2 or something like that in grade one pennant. And I just knew that it was time to hang the racket up.
Wow. Okay.
But I,
So-
but I still don't know why I wasn't seeing the
Yeah,
ball.
yeah, exactly. So how did you get diagnosed? What happened then? So you keep on teaching,
Yeah, so
and how did the
probably
diagnosis come into play?
after that last pennant match, it was 5 years later. I went to Specsavers to get my routine eye check. They took a picture of the back of my retina, and the optometrist, I just still remember them walking up to me quite cautiously and saying, "Do you have this?" And I said, "No." I said, What do you mean?" He goes, "Well, I think you have this," and it was retinitis pigmentosa. And I said, "Oh, well, you're the first to say that." And so immediately he referred me to a local ophthalmologist, and I got more thorough testing, and it was confirmed probably 3 weeks later that I had retinitis pigmentosa, which I didn't believe them at first as well,
Why didn't you believe him?
because I'd lived for 37 years and it just didn't make sense to me.
Wow.
So they referred me then to the Royal Eye and Ear Hospital,
Yep.
and I remember it was probably 8 hours of testing that day, and they said, "You absolutely have this." And I said, "You've got to be kidding." And they said, "Well, you have to stop driving." I was driving at the time, and I shouldn't have
Wow.
been now in hindsight, but I was, because I didn't know. Thankfully, I never had a significant or serious car issue or crash.
Wow.
Uh, and then they still realized that I didn't believe them. And they said, "There's one more test you can do. We can send you to this ophthalmologist." I went there, and I was all ready for this test. It was a roving test where I get to look around and try and find little light that was being presented on this dome. And I couldn't see the light, and I didn't press the button once.
Mm.
And I was geared up. I thought I was going to beat this test.
You're gonna
Uh,
ace
and
it.
then and then at the end of that, then I realized that I realized already, but that was the moment where I went, "Wow, this is real."
And dude, what was that like, bro? Accepting it. That would have been grief, right?
It wasn't great. It was. I still remember heading home from that test with my wife because I'd stopped driving previously. So when the Royal Ioneer said you have to stop driving, I honoured that because the last thing I wanted was to injure myself, injure a pedestrian, a cyclist, or my family, or anyone. So I made that decision, even though there was no obligation from the hospital to inform Vic Roads. But I made that decision, and I just remember the ride home and just breaking down in tears because my independence was changing. I still could be independent, and I realized that some years later, the ability to drive was a big deal.
Yeah, wow, that's massive. So you go from being thinking that your eyes are perfect and you can drive and the whole world's your oyster, apart from the tennis world,
Yep.
unfortunately, to now finding out that you can't. So
Yeah.
now you have the diagnosis. How did you end up now becoming a professional blind tennis player, bro? What happened there?
Yeah, look, it's really interesting. Probably for the next 3 years after the diagnosis, I told my close family and I told couple of close friends, and that was it. So no one knew. So
Wow.
I took 3 years to come to terms that I had this disability, and I was worried. I was worried that I would lose my job. I was worried that people would judge me differently, treat me differently, and it took me some time to have the courage to be more open with people,
Even at work.
and even at work. Yep.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah, absolutely,
It's
absolutely.
amazing,
So
man.
I it was actually 5 years later that I first opened up to my school community. So um, about a year before that 5 year point, was doing a Google search and I found blind low vision tennis because I love tennis. Tennis was a big part of my life, but I did have a love hate relationship with it because of my inconsistency of play with the regular felt ball. And discovered it at the end of 2020. I went to a come and try day and I went, okay, this is interesting. And then in 2021, so at the age of 44, I found my first ever tournament, the Vic Open, and I took part and had a pretty successful first up go at it. And then ever since, I've played as many tournaments as I can. But it was 7 years until I played my first tournament, and it took some time for me to accept my challenge.
Can you tell me, man, what was that like when you played your first tournament in blind tennis? Did you
Mm.
feel like you were blind and now you could see because you had the audible ball? There's a rattle in the ball for people that don't know, so you can actually hear the ball bouncing. The
Yep.
ball's a lot, probably almost twice the size as a normal tennis
Mm.
ball. It's got that spongy material, yet a yellow or a black ball. And in
Hmm.
your division, you actually play as close as possible to normal tennis. You're allowed to have one
Mm.
bounce only because your
That's
vision
right.
is a lot better, where I am allowed to have three bounces.
Mhm.
So, what was that feeling like when you played with the game catered to you? Did you feel like, wow, now I can be consistent? What was that like?
Oh, it was amazing. I still remember the first come and try day, and the coach throwing me the ball and swinging and completely missing it because the bounce of the ball, the trajectory of the ball is very different to
Mm.
a mainstream tennis ball. But once I got used to the blind low vision ball, because a lot of my tennis history was predicting the ball, I realized I couldn't actually see it. I would predict it. I'd see a little bit of it, and then I'd predict its trajectory based on the spin or the height that it's coming in. Uh, but blind low vision is a bit different because it does move a little bit slower. It is a bit easier to pick up because of its size, and the sound certainly helps. I fell in love with it pretty quickly. I mentioned before I had a love-hate relationship with mainstream tennis, but it's been mostly love relationship with blind low vision tennis, apart from at the end of the tournament when I'm hobbling around. That's probably the only time I'm like, why am I doing this? But when I'm on the court, it's so accessible. I feel so comfortable, and I feel like the 20 years or so of many, many hours off the court are now paying off and allowing me to fulfill some childhood dreams.
And are you so happy now that you can be like, wow, I actually did achieve that goal of
Yeah.
becoming a professional tennis player? Well, what does that mean to you? What does that mean to you?
Yeah, look, to be able to represent Australia has been amazing. So to represent Australia at World Championships, at the World Games, at the Blind Low Vision Showdown, at the Australian Open has ticked all the boxes that I wanted to tick. And then to play national championships, state-based tournaments, and other experiences has been really amazing. So it's been nice. I don't know how long I can keep going for, but it's been just wonderful to be able to have those experiences and play against the best in the world and the best in Australia, and know that um, I'm right up there.
Now, you're being very humble saying right up there, bro, because I'm pretty sure you have been undefeated since 2021. Is that right?
Yeah, you're right. Yes. So in singles, I haven't lost a match ever. I haven't lost a set ever. So I've had a pretty strong run. I'm actually on 99 wins straight, and I have a tournament tomorrow or this weekend, and I'm hoping to go to the triple digits. That would be my final goal. If I could tick that off, I'd retire quite happily. So we'll see how we go. I've got the young bucks chasing me though, so it could be my first defeat this weekend. But to this point, I've had a really strong career.
So you're going to a tournament this weekend to get your 100th win. Where's that tournament, bro?
New South Wales Open in Sydney
Where?
at the Tennis World there.
Where? And how are you feeling? What are your chances?
I'm feeling good. I'm as fit as I've been in since taking up blind low vision tennis. I'll have a practice session tomorrow and get I guess, the eye in and the ear in, and hopefully I'll be able to get that 100th win this weekend.
Yeah, because as we record this, it's Friday, so you're playing on
Mm.
Sunday?
Sunday's the tournament proper, and Saturday's a practice session.
Dude, man, good luck, bro. And I can't wait to hear the results. It's going to be amazing to notify everyone what the results were. And you said you got the Young Bucks chasing you, and it's true
Mm.
because one of your rivals, tell us a little bit about this. One of your rivals, his name's Arito, and well, he was 12 when I saw him play you last. So he's probably a bit older now, maybe, I don't know, 13, 14. And he's a rival of yours. Tell us, what's that like, man? Playing against a 14-year-old. And how old are you, sorry, Ross? 40,
49.
49. So what's that like, bro?
Look, it's a young person's game, the B4 tennis, and it's not just Dorado. Ivan, who's the world number two from Great Britain's, I think, 22. Adrian from Mexico's 19. Samuel from Italy's 19. So it's a young person's game. I'm an anomaly at the moment. What's it like? Well, I've got to use my craft and strategy. I've got the years and years of playing as my advantage. So I've got a lot of wisdom on the court, and I've got to utilize that because they're faster than me. They recover better than me from match to match. And what often happens though is in between matches, I'm on the foam roller, I'm in the ice bath at the end of the day. So I'm looking after myself, ensuring that I'm able to get through an extended tournament while they just walk off the court and just do what they need to do. So we prepare very differently, but they're certainly coming through. They're very strong. There's so many passionate players across the world, and there will be time where I hand the baton over, and that may be in the near future. It may not be. We'll see how we go. But I'm in pretty good shape at the moment, so I'm feeling pretty confident about the weekend.
Please don't retire anytime soon, man, because it's no tournament. It is no tournament without Ross Patterson. Honestly, man, like you bring the vibe. Everyone looks up to you. You're the goat, man. You are the Novak Djokovic of blind tennis, the older player that plays against the young guns and still makes it hard for him. But more importantly, man, you're winning Grand Slams, bro. It's insane. I am so proud of you, man, and I personally look up to you a lot for blind tennis and just as a person in general. I've always been in awe of you, mate, honestly. And just listening to your interview today, because a lot of this stuff I didn't even know, makes me respect you even more. You know, the barriers and the challenges that you had and have still, and you basically didn't even know that you had half of them. You just kept going. What is your advice to anyone watching this right now that has barriers in their life and want to achieve their dreams like you did when you were, 12, wanting to be a professional tennis player, but might feel like I can't do my dreams because of my barriers. I can't achieve them. What is
Yeah.
your advice to them, bro?
Firstly, thank you for your kind words. That's really lovely.
It's
And
all true,
secondly,
man.
Novak Djokovic is starting to lose matches, so
Yes, so you're
you're not
not. Sorry.
invincible forever. But my advice is to dream big and follow your dreams. And whether you get there or not, it doesn't matter. It's such a wonderful journey where you learn so much, you make new connections. I mentioned earlier that without tennis, I wouldn't have met my wife. I wouldn't have had some unbelievably strong friendships, and I wouldn't have probably found the career that I found in education. So there's always good that comes out of perhaps sometimes not fulfilling the ultimate dream, but I was patient enough that eventually I got there and I got to the Australian Open, um, and there may be a few more goals that I have on the list, but I would just say that the world is becoming more inclusive. There are organisations out there doing terrific work, like Tennis Australia, for example, and what you find through pursuing dreams is sometimes new communities. And I've found the blind low vision community. I've met people like yourself, Mikey, and so many other people that gave me the courage to own my disability and to embrace it and to be myself for probably the first time in my life. And I remember at a tournament, you said to me, and you won't remember this, where you went, "Hey, mate, the students at school must be so proud of what you're achieving on the tennis court." And it was a moment that I remember really vividly because I palmed you off and said, "Yeah, yeah, yeah." But the reality was that they didn't know because I
Man.
hadn't been open with my community around my invisible disability. And so it was around that time with you bringing it to my attention that I'm perhaps pretending to be someone I'm not. And also, our school captain at the time has cerebral palsy. And I felt that I was just being an imposter. And so I just remember having a meeting with my student leadership team, and we were talking about raising awareness for people with disability. And I said, "By the way, everyone, I've got an invisible disability." And they looked at me like I was joking. I said, "No, I'm serious." And they just beautiful comments and so much support. And it was not long after that that I was sharing at an assembly, and then I went on my journey now where I'm so open with my challenge, and I've embraced it. And for the first time ever, I'm being who I am, and I'm being true to myself. And it's just been a beautiful journey. And that wouldn't have happened without the blind low vision community, people like yourself, but everyone else who are experiencing similar but different challenges. And there's such a warmth in this community and such a welcoming environment that uh, it inspired me to be me. And it took time to get there because I found out so late, and I was worried about the repercussions should people find out. But I applied for this role that I have now, a principal role in Tasmania, with them being fully aware of my vision impairment. They didn't bat an eyelid, and I knew that that was the right place for me. The world is becoming more inclusive. Tennis Australia doing a wonderful job in the area of inclusion, as are many other organisations, and it's really encouraging for the future. And it's why I would encourage anyone with a challenge, a disability, a vision impairment, whatever it may be, to just dream big and take every opportunity that exists out there
And own it. I love it. Just own
and
it. Yeah.
own it. Yeah, yeah,
That is gonna be the quote from today's interview, guys. Just
mm,
own it. No,
yeah,
no matter what disability we have, barriers we might have, just own it, embrace it. Because correct me if I'm wrong. Once we do embrace it and we do own it, that's when we start really, really living life, and we start
correct.
loving life more instead of hiding.
Yeah,
Right?
yeah. Yeah, I felt I was a pretender for a good period of time there till I owned it, and now I am myself, and the world hasn't changed. If anything, more doors have opened up, and that's just been wonderful.
Ross, honestly, man, you are, dude. Yeah, nah, there's no words, man. There's no words how inspired. You were inspirational to me before, and I respected you so much before, but now it's just like next level, bro. Like I genuinely mean that, and far out. Yeah, nah, like, honestly, bro, it's emotional for me to hear this kind of stuff, and it's amazing. I'm just so proud of you, bro. Keep up your amazing work, dude, and keep on being such an amazing advocate and role model for people like me and other ones in the blind and low vision community and everyone watching today, bro. You're amazing, man.
Oh, thanks, Mikey. It's been awesome connecting with you, and I hope we can connect in person sometime soon.
We will, man. I'll be seeing you at the Nationals, bro. Thank
Yeah,
God I'm not
awesome.
in your division to play against you. Thank God. That's the only time that I'm actually happy that I got a bit worse vision because I would not want to play you on the court, bro. All right, bro. So to wrap it up, man, we ask everyone three questions to wrap it up. So first question, Ross. What is an intense barrier that you have faced in the last week?
Last Sunday, I ran a half marathon. And the barrier for me was the start line. It's heavily congested, and I was just petrified I was going to trip over someone or run into a median strip sign or something along those lines. But I took it nice and easy, got into some clear space and made it to the end. So that was probably in the last week, one of my biggest barriers, particularly with my vision impairment, lack of peripheral vision.
Dude, just as I thought you couldn't top it, then this guy runs a marathon. Far out, man.
Half,
Next
half a marathon.
half. That's what I mean. You're just so humble, dude. You are so humble. The next question is, what is a barrier you would like to face and beat in the next week? And I think I know what it is, but I'll let you answer it.
Oh, look, I think we spoke about the New South Wales Open. I'd like to
Yeah.
come away with the win, but most importantly, I'd like to get the 100 wins in a row. We'll see. I'm not thinking about that too much because I know that if I do, then I won't play 1 point at a time and I won't be in the zone as much as I need to be a bit too distracted. So that is, but also I've got a couple of big school events next week that I need to attend that are in dimly lit venue. It's for performing arts, and so that's always a huge barrier for me. So I need to know where my seat is. I need to um, get there early and just plan my pathway, and then I need to yeah just be in that environment as confidently as I can.
Yeah, things that people take for granted. Hey, definitely, definitely finding a seat and just being in a dimly lit
Mm.
environment. Well done, man. And lastly, what is either in the last week or just in your life in general, what's a really funny story that you can tell us about a barrier that you faced, maybe with your vision? What's a funny story about a barrier?
Well, this is probably a reason why I should never have driven. I remember I was leaving my tennis coaching job. And what I do at the end of the night is I turned all the lights off, then I make my way to the car. Often there's very little people around. And so I reversed out of the car park and then swung around and went to drive off. Right next to the car was a dumpster. And luckily, the car park was completely empty. And so I've just turned around, swung into this dumpster, and knocked the dumpster 50 meters down the car park. And again, I thought, wow, I was clumsy, or the lights in the car perhaps weren't on. I look back on that, that was probably 25 years ago, and I'm like, there was another sign. But there was lots of moments like that.
Yeah.
Thankfully, no one was injured or harmed. And look, as recently as yesterday, I had a wonderful lunch with my year 11 students. We set out about 15 trestle tables in a rectangular format, and we have open discussion. And they know that I've got a vision impairment, but I can't see their hands up when they're looking to contribute.
Oh,
And so they'll just be smiling and they'll just be pointing this way or pointing to that way. And so that's always really funny to see the look on their face, but their kindness in just saying, there's someone to the left there. How about you look
no.
over that way? So that's funny because it's always generates a bit of a chuckle in the meetings, but also shows how kind people are.
I love it, mate. And there's something about people that are fully abled that hang out, associate, and work with people with disabilities that teaches them to be more kind, more humble, and gives them an opportunity to also help out. So, we're also helping other people in that respect. So that's amazing. And hats off to your students, mate. Ross Patterson, champion blind tennis player, achieved his dreams, a principal of a high school despite having a vision impairment, and the GOAT of blind tennis. Thank you so much for joining us today and for squeezing in a bit of time because I know how busy you are, man. And bro, good luck this weekend, and we can't wait to see you with your triple digits in your blind tennis
Oh,
career, bro.
we'll see how we go.
Thanks, Ross. Good on you,
Thanks,
man. Good
Mikey. It's
luck
been
for this
awesome
weekend,
catching up with
buddy.
you. Cheers, mate.
That weekend, Ross ended up winning his 100th consecutive match.